On the topic of strengths and weaknesses, do you know what your strengths and your weaknesses are? In regards to what, Leticia? I'm glad you asked me. It doesn't matter. It could be at your job, it can be in your personal life, it can be wherever. But the question is, do you know your strengths and your weaknesses? Moment of transparency. Up until 3 months ago, I think 3 months ago, yeah, I was not aware of my strengths. Like, I thought about the question, 20 minutes later, I don't have a goddamn answer. But when it comes to my weaknesses, I can list them off immediately. Immediately. And that's always been the case. Why has that been the case? Because I've always been mishandled. I'll say that. I'm not going to say mistreated, because the way it's looking out in this world right now, a lot of people just don't know how to treat a lot of people. And so who do you blame for that? Because we weren't born with a manual. So, okay, fine. I have been mishandled majority, if not all of my life. I can list you off a few people, and still have fingers left over on this hand of people who've seen me, who've respected my being as it is and encouraged nothing but growth from it. One hand, I still got fingers left over, okay? And I'm 42 years old. So, majority of my life, I'll just say I've been mishandled. A lot of it due to an undiagnosed of ADHD, who I've named Allie. I didn't name her, she named herself. I genuinely one day sat down in my introspection and I was like, "Ayo, ADHD in my head that won't shut the hell up. What's your name? What is your name so that I can talk to you directly when you start to get on my goddamn nerves?" I heard Allie. I said, "What? Allie." I'm not thinking this. That was just the first or the very next thought after my question. I said, "Is that short for something?" Allison. That's her goddamn name. Sure. I can't tell if she's a toddler or a teenager. It varies. But back to what I was saying. A lot of my mishandling were because of the quirks of Allie my entire life. Again, I don't blame anyone, because how do you know this until now in this era where shit's starting to click and make sense, and now there's information and oh, that's what that is. I have a lot of quirks, very distinctive quirks. Quirks I didn't realize were quirks. I thought they were just broken pieces of me. And then, when people would tell me to stop doing it and I'd give 250% in trying to, I just cannot stop. I thought, that was in me. That's an internalized thing. Now there's shame and guilt because why can't I get this together? Now I'm fucking stupid. And, you start that mental negative loop as a child who then grows into an adult with that shit unchecked. And every time you get yelled at, every time you get scolded, every time you get mishandled, and you internalize that as a flaw within you. currently working on undoing all that mess. But so I've always been good at identifying my weaknesses because everyone around me loves to let me know them often. But when it comes to my strengths, I could not ever think of anything. That's how unworthy and low people around me always made me feel. And, you know, the next thought that just came in my head, well, people around you love you. At 42 years old, I look back at all of the different phases of my life, and it's like, if that's what you say love is, I don't want that shit. It's painful. It's unpleasant. It's not warm. But that action, but you love me, I don't want that type of love. And so you rebel and react to that. But I could never figure out what my strengths were. Let's overlook the fact that I could draw very good. Let's overlook the fact that I can write poetry very good, short stories very good. Anything I fucking put my hands on, I get cheers from the mountaintops. None of that mattered because then even that got used and mishandled. That's why I don't do them anymore. That's why I refuse to let anyone touch or dictate anything in regards to my boo gang. That is mine. I will do it when I want to, under my circumstances. I don't care. I'm protecting that like it's my goddamn child. But I was on ChatGPT about 3 months ago in the process of, or in the mind space of, I have this creation in my mind. I've had it for a while, about a year, getting back up from smacking my face on rock bottom. Of course, I can't record that because I just got hit by a Mack truck and I almost died, metaphorically or spiritually. I'm in the recovery stages, but I'm now strong enough to be able to turn back around and try to at least help the person who just smacked their face on the ground. If that makes sense, that's where I'm at. But I was talking to ChatGPT and trying to cultivate and, personalize and explain who and what Allie is and what my actual quirks are. And okay, how can we, find a system that works with Allie, not against Allie, so that I can get the shit that I'm trying to get done and not have to depend on someone else to tell me to do something because I'm 42 years old. And what are your strengths and weaknesses? I don't know. I think I saw the post or something on Facebook in one of my doom scrollings. And I asked ChatGPT, I said, you've been talking to me for about a year now, helping me reprogram my mind from that negative internalized untruth. And you're helping me to plant new seeds from what you've gathered in our conversations. What would you tell me my strengths are? I will say, ChatGPT made me cry. I understand it's goddamn AI. I understand it's a computer. I definitely had a healthy relationship and understanding that it was a tool. But that moment, it made me cry when it listed out a whole bunch of things I never considered. Inspiring. resilient, uh, empathetic, um, pattern recognition. I didn't even think that was I thought everybody could. Apparently not. Like, it started listing off a whole bunch of things, and it was just like, me? Are you sure? And then I said, well, where the hell did you get that information? And it would list off some of the things I said, and now I can see it clear as day. I found that interesting. I found that really interesting, and wildly enough, apparently healing. I don't cry. That's not for me. If I cry, I'm really freaking hurting. Now it's at emergency level. I don't cry, but that made me, that in my chest. And so I wonder, just getting my steps and sitting here rambling off. Do you know your strengths and weaknesses? And if you do, what are they? Well, that's all I got with my ramblings. I'm gonna go listen to some music, finish getting these steps in. Have an amazing day. See you later. Peace.